Hey class, welcome to our first chapter. So if you have the book, great. If you don't, I always try my best to outline every chapter. And if you do have the book, you're going to realize that this is a pretty short chapter. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the theory behind personal assessment. So again, what is assessment? Think of it almost like a test. But it's not as scary as a test because what you're really doing is you're finding out more about yourself. So examine who you are right now, today, this very second, because you might not be the same person tomorrow or next year or next month, and you probably weren't the same person maybe last week, a month ago, 2 years ago, etc. So who you are right now. What kind of self-awareness do you have? Are you pretty self-aware and you kind of understand what's going on around you and what you're good at, maybe what you could improve on? And then we're no longer picking jobs on careers due to proximity. And we'll talk about proximity, what that really means. And of course, the self concept and how you see yourself. Not to be confused with how other people see you, but how you see yourself. So if you have not watched the YouTube video before this lecture, please do so. It's pretty short. It's only like 4 or 5 minutes long, but it talks about super, pretty cool name, right? And it's probably much better than I could do in a short amount of time. But we all have different abilities, interests, and personalities. And you're going to hear me talk about this throughout the semester. There are 7 billion people on this planet. In the next 10 years are supposed to be 10 billion people. So another 3 billion people on this planet. We're all different. We might share the same culture, might share the same ethnicity, might share the same religion, might share the same favorite sports team or whatever it might be. But we're all going to perceive things differently. And we're all going to be, because we perceive things differently, we're going to like different things or be good at different things. And then we're going to do the difference between a job and a career and then different personality types. So drink some water really quick. Cave people. Okay, what the heck are there cave people on our first couple slides of our first chapter? The bottom one is from a movie. If you know what movie that is, then good for you. It's a pretty funny movie. It's called Year One. Top one is just cave people. And what this is really doing is kind of showing us proximity as modern human, the last 100,000 years or so has been around. So before, there was like the internet, before there was the Industrial Revolution, there, of course, were way back when 50 to 100,000 years ago, there's hunting and gathering. So you really had 2 jobs. You were going to go hunt whatever there is to hunt, or you're going to gather like vegetables or whatever you could find. Because without food, you're going to die. So of course, there's like little jobs as far as like maybe making clothing or something like that, but food was your primary thing. And it was so primary that, as the animals moved or as the seasons came, and it got too cold or too hot for your food, you had to move with it. So you might travel hundreds of miles through the year just trying to survive. But as our population started to grow, which as we know it has quite a bit, jobs changed. Okay, so our village, our tribe went from 100 people to 500 people. Do we need, 3 or 4 times more hunters? Probably not. Do we need 3 or 4 times more gatherers? Probably not. Oh, wait, we're having more children, so we need someone to take care of the village children. Okay, well, that occupation of childcare is born. Okay, there's more people, we need more clothes. Okay, so now we're making more clothes, that occupation is born. Okay, so now there's enough people, so now we're making language and we're doing writing. Okay, so that occupation is born as far as maybe it's cave painting or whatever it might be to tell stories through the next generations. And as our population continued to grow, we found out that we could actually stay in the same spot and we could herd animals, keep them in fencing, stuff like that. And our little village or our little tribe turn into a city, turn into maybe a state, etc. So I'm oversimplifying this. This took many, many, many years to do. But as you could see, our first occupations really came down to proximity. How close are you to something? Because there were no bikes, there were no planes, there were no helicopters, there were no cars, there were your legs. And for thousands and thousands of years, people didn't even ride animals. So it was really just your legs. So this talks about the different stages of your life. We're going to go through them a little bit more detailed. This is just a little example. So if you want, and this goes for all lectures, you could pause the lecture. And again, this is the generalized, if you're a little younger, a little older for these stages and you feel like you fit in, totally cool. If you feel like you need to go back a stage, totally cool. Please do not feel that you're locked in. So ages 1 to 4, you're starting at a very, very young age. You're learning your own abilities. Hey, I could crawl. Hey, I could walk. Hey, I learned how to read. I'm learning how to play sports. Whatever it might be, you're learning about yourself daily. Hey, I didn't know I could do that. And maybe you're so young, you couldn't do that the day before. You're learning to play with interactions with others and being a team player. Your communication skills are starting to get better. You're also starting to realize maybe you like to work with or be by yourself more than you like to be with other human beings or animals or whatever it might be. And at a very young age, you might start thinking of a career. So on the very bottom, I have Ice Cream Man. That was actually the first career that I wanted to do. I used to go to my grandma's. She used to save me all her quarters. The Ice Cream Man would come. I'd run out and get a Ninja Turtles ice cream. If you've ever had one of those with the gum eyes that flavor lasts for about half a second. They are good though. And I thought, that's an excellent job. This guy gets to go around, deliver ice cream, probably eats a bunch of ice cream. That's a career that I absolutely wanted until my dad was like, nope, not doing that. I was like 5 or 6. I was heartbroken. So now you're a teenager to a young adult. You're starting to really think about what you might want to do. Maybe you see something on social media. Maybe you see a commercial. Maybe you talk to an older relative. Maybe you see a billboard. I don't know. But something is, you're starting to get your interest sparked. If you don't have something that you're interested in, contact me. We'll figure it out. But you're starting to explore jobs, careers, and your education. So, this is, again, 15-ish to your early 20s, but you're really starting to figure it out. So now, you're 25 to 44. So you're getting, you found out what you want to do. You got the appropriate education to do it. So now you're starting to get your work experience or job training. And then, again, you start working. Then you start to set a foundation. So early on, it's gonna be a little harder, but as you get better at what you do and you get raises or start making money, then you can start to go ahead saving for housing, retirement, or whatever else that might look like. And we're going to talk about all of these in this course. So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, totally cool. Just know that we are going to be discussing these things in the future. So maintenance stage. If you have ever seen the show The Office, it's freaking hilarious. I highly recommend it. Okay, so you're starting to advance. So you've been doing your job for 15, 20 plus years at this point, or your career. Hopefully you're pretty good at this point. If not, then I don't know what to tell you. But because you've been doing it for a while, you're able to train others. The people are new to this career, the younger people. Then there is maybe you run a department, maybe you run your own business. And then again, we'll talk about investments in the future. So this might make a little bit more sense, but you start to move your higher risk investments to lower risk investments. So that way you have less of a chance to lose money because you're actually gearing up for retirement. So now you're 65 plus. you focus on things besides work. So again, you're young, you're figuring it out, you're a young adult, you start working, you're an older or middle adult, I guess you'd call it, I don't know. So you've been working for 20, 30 plus years, but now hopefully you don't have to work forever. So now that you might find other interests. So maybe I'll give you an example of my uncle. He retired and he's just started flying around like drones and little aircrafts. To him, that was like the funnest thing ever because he worked really hard. Maybe you can do a part-time job. So my dad, he retired and now he works part-time as a consultant. Again, hobbies like what my uncle does, travel. Huge fan of traveling. If you have not traveled, I highly, highly suggest you do so. You can learn about yourself. You can learn about others. You learn about different cultures. It's pretty cool. Anyways, so job versus career. We're going to be talking about this quite a bit throughout this class. So what's the difference between a job and a career? Typically, this is an in-person class. So we'd spend, 5-10 minutes talking about this. And just so you know, and I'll reiterate this later, some of my lectures are going to be a little shorter because it's really only me talking to myself in the room in my house. This is an online class now. So what we used to do is break out in groups. These are pre-recorded lectures. So sometimes my lectures might only be 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes long. I'm not a person to talk just to talk. I know that you guys wear many hats, and this probably isn't the only class you're taking. So I really try to get straight to the point, just for you guys, of course. All right, so with that being said, job versus career. So job is something that you don't need. It is really just, I need money. Maybe you're in school, maybe you have other responsibilities, and hey, I need money. I need to only work a couple hours, or for 6 months, like a short pursuit. Maybe it's summer break and you just want to work for 3 months. Money is typically the main driver. Your reward is the money that you are paid typically. And then it's something that I think I would mention this, but you don't need to have prior experience. Typically, it's on-the-job training. So, hey, I applied at the movie theater, which I suggest you do if you would like to. Free popcorn, free movies, air conditioning in summer. But anyways, you don't have to know how to work the popcorn maker. You don't have to know how to use the computer system. They're going to teach you on the job. Now, if we get over to career, it's a long time pursuit. You're going to be doing this for a long time. So you need additional education. Maybe that's a certificate. Maybe that's a degree, associate's, a bachelor's, a master's, a doctorate degree. It's a specialized training. You can't just walk up on the street and start doing it. Sorry, more water. It requires special skills training, like I mentioned. A lot of times it's not just about the money, it's about a passion. Maybe you're a counselor and you want to help people with their mental health. Maybe you're a social worker and you want to give families more resources so that they have a more comfortable life. Whatever it might be, maybe it's sales, marketing, whatever it is. So rewards can include salary, pension, healthcare, and bonuses, car allowance, weekends, sick time, and all the other good stuff we're going to be talking about in that class. Another thing is it requires a specific skill, and those skills are transferable. So for myself, I went to school. I went to school a lot, and went to 4 different community colleges. I switched majors 6 times. I eventually finished with my bachelor's degree, got into radio and film, and then a couple years later, I went for my master's. My master's allows me to be a high school counselor and work mental health on the side, as well as be a college professor. So it kind of overlaps, and that's typically what a skill will do in a career. So I think that is it for this short little lecture. Again, if we're in person, we break down and talk about these wonderful things. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to me, and go ahead, take your second quiz, and you have up to 2 times to take it. Just review before you take it. All right, I'll talk to you on the next one. See you later. Bye.